Several years ago, I worked for a funeral company. And at this funeral company, I had several responsibilities. One of my responsibilities was to walk out throughout the cemetery throughout the day, and I would go and I would number lots, and I would see which lots were vacant and available for the final resting place of future people. And as I would walk through the cemetery, I would stop and I would read the gravestones, and I would just read this epitaph that explained the story of the person that once lived. I remember several of the epitaphs, reading one of a man that just loved to hunt, of another individual who was actually a truck driver and explained their love for trucks. Another person was actually a professional athlete and talked about their great love for football and all the things that entailed. And it was during this time that it really hit me that someday I was gonna die. And what would be left of my story? This stone with the epitaph written on it, explaining who I was, what I loved, what I was passionate about, what I stood for. Would this tell my story, or would the life that I lived explain my story for itself? The book of James tells me that my life is but a vapor, that it appeareth for a little while and then it will vanisheth away. And so what's your story? What's your story that you're living out? Are you living out in a way that people will take notice? That they'll know who you are? Or when you pass, are they going to have to come across a gravestone in the middle of a cemetery and read an epitaph upon the stone to find out who you are? We've seen over 100 people come to know Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior, and another 50 go public and make a public profession of faith of Jesus Christ and how He has changed their life through baptism. We thank you for your support, but I want to help send a message that this is just the beginning of God's mission and His story in Philadelphia.
Seems like all I could see was the struggle, haunted by ghosts that lived in my past, bound up in shackles of all my failures, wondering how long is this gonna last. Then you look at this prisoner and say to me, son, stop fighting a fight it's already been won. And I am redeemed. You set me free. So I'll shake off these heavy chains and wipe away every stain. That I'm not who I used to be. I am redeemed. I'm redeemed. All my life I have been called unworthy, named by the voice of my shame and regret. God redeemed.